What's good, YouTube? If you tapped in, you already know who I am. If not, my name is Caleb Jarrell. You gotta be where your feet are. What do I mean by that? You know, the good times, the bad times, when things don't look so good, and when they do look good, you gotta embrace whatever situation you're going through. And growing up, I used to always be someone that was always overthinking, constantly in anxiety, or constantly having anxiety, constantly in depression, constantly worrying about things that I really didn't have an outcome or really didn't have control on how the outcome came, right? So this put me through cycles of unnecessary trauma, unnecessary decisions being made, unnecessary, mental battles. And life itself is already hard enough. I mean, life is simple, but life can be hard if you make it hard, right? So the more that you pay attention to these exterior things and things that you can't control, and you start to focus on all these things that you can't control instead of focusing on the areas that you can control and work on, that's what brings a lot of anxiety. That's what brings a lot of trauma. That's what brings a lot of bad decisions. That's what brings a lot of depression. And all of this stems from the fact that you're focusing on things that you can't control. So this is why I'm saying, be where your feet are. What does that mean? That just means embrace whatever situation you're going through. Embrace whatever season of life that you are in. It's times where we have to go through hard times. Whether it's a breakup, whether it's, just necessarily personal things that you can't really control in that moment. We all got to go through it. There's no way around it. Future got a song called Ain't No Way Around It. And basically in the song he's saying, a female gonna be a female, a hoe gonna be a hoe, a nigga gonna be a nigga, and it ain't no way around it. You feel me? And what does that song mean? He's saying, basically, it ain't no way around certain things that you can't control. People gonna be who they are. People gonna treat you how they are. You feel me? Or how they see themselves. And it ain't no way around it. So stop focusing on those things. Stop focusing on the things that you can't control or you have no control over. Life starts to become a lot more simple when you understand that the more you focus on you, mind your business, and do the things that you have to do in your life, the more simple and easier it is. It eliminates a lot of negative things that you could be into. When you're somebody, especially as a man, you focused on just being a better version of yourself, trying to be at a better space in life, whether it's mentally, physically, financially. It's like the more you focus on it, the more locked in you are in it, and the more attention you give to just becoming a better person. You tend to get around things and negate negative energy. Just be where your feet are. Stop focusing on things that you can't control. Stop trying to rush the process of certain things. Sometimes not having the answer right now doesn't mean that you have the wrong answer in that moment. If that makes sense. So sometimes the timing just isn't right for whatever you're trying to do. It's not that you have the wrong answer. It's not that you made the wrong move. It's not that you made a wrong decision. Sometimes it's just the timing isn't where it needs to be. Sometimes, you feel me, it's not time for you to check into the game yet. Sometimes you gotta sit on the sideline a little bit. You feel me? Get a little bit more coaching. Get a little bit more knowledge. Get a little bit more discipline. Get a little bit more consistent. Sometimes you gotta sit and do those certain things and build that momentum to where you're building consistency in yourself. You're building discipline in yourself. You're getting around the right people. You're getting around the right knowledge. And then once you start to build a momentum of applying those things, instead of focusing on the things that you can't control and focusing while you're not getting checked into the game, once you forget all that and just focus on doing the things you need to do in practice, doing the things you need to do while you're not in the game, doing the things you need to do while you're being on the sideline, Then when you check in the game, it's like, okay, it ain't nothing new. Sometimes it may be a little bit faster. Sometimes the game may be a little bit faster than what you're used to. Sometimes the game may be a little bit more, you feel me, quicker than what you're used to. But as you continue to go, you start to adjust to the game. You start to adjust to the game speed. You start to adjust to the things that's happening in life. You start to adjust to the mental aspect that you need to be in. And once you start to adjust, you start to understand how to handle things that happen in life. You start to understand that people are going to be people. You start to understand that it's best that I focus on myself and focus on taking care of people that I care about or my loved ones, you feel me? Taking care of my responsibilities. You know, me personally, I'm a simple man. I don't really care to be all flashy. You feel me? I used to do that, but it's gonna come a time when you're gonna have hard times that you go through. It's gonna come a time when your finances might not be where they want to be at, and the only way you learn from that is by going through these situations. But when you go through these situations, you start to understand what really matters to you. You feel me? Going through that time for me, I recognized I actually care about having my bills paid, having some money in my bank account, being able to cook me some food or go out if I want to, being able to take care of my loved ones if they need help in certain areas, and being able to travel when I want to. And leaving my kids and my future family and my future kids an inheritance, leaving them something that they have to build off of. That's what I recognize that I care about in life. So now my aim went from here to here. So it's like I was focused on doing this at one point in my life. But boom, I started to recognize the game get a little bit faster. You feel me? I started to recognize I'm not the best player no more. It's other players that's better than me. It's people that got more experience than me. So what did I start doing? I started embracing the time that I was on the sideline. I started embracing the time that I wasn't getting playing time. And I used that time to focus on myself, to focus on building myself, to focus on building my discipline, to focus on building my consistency. And what did that lead me to? It led me to start focusing on looking this way now. So now I have a new vision. I have a new thing that I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for generational wealth. I'm aiming for prosperity. You feel me? I'm aiming to become the better version of myself, the best version of myself. And this is where I started to see the results of just not necessarily materialistic things, but the results of more peace, the results of more passion, the results of less anxiety, the results of less depression. Because I had to flip from going this way and flip my path to this way, or flip my vision to this way, flip my perspective this way. But guess what? While I was focused on the other side still, while I'm young, you feel me? While I'm in high school, while I'm in barber school, while I'm doing certain things to, you know, not necessarily being in that path, but I'm like in the hallway of becoming that best version of myself. I learned to be where my feet are. I learned to embrace the things that I was going through. I learned to embrace the hard times that I was going through. I learned to embrace working the 8 to 10 hours, working the 10 to 12 hours. I learned to embrace being at Domino's full time because I knew that that was temporary. I knew that that wasn't forever for me. Did I know when I was going to quit or when I was going to come out of it? Not necessarily. But what did I do? I said, I'm going to work this job and do what I got to do so I can do what I want to do. And that's what you have to do in the midst of you being in the hallway of the old you and the new you. You feel me? It's going to be a daily task of trying to become the better version of yourself. But you have to recognize you got to come out of that old you and step into the hallway to even start to get on the path of becoming a better version of yourself.